Good evening and welcome. I'm Jared Santek, Artistic Director at Right On Door County, and I'm very happy to have you with us this evening for this reading of poetry in recognition of International Mother Language Day. Right On has offered this program since 2014, which was the first year that we existed as an organization, and we've held this program in person every year until the reading in 2020, which was just a few weeks before everything shut down due to COVID. So tonight we are so excited to be doing this virtual reading in collaboration with wonderful writing organizations across Wisconsin and involving people from all areas of the state in this program. We are so happy to be working with the Chippewa Valley Writers Guild, Driftless Writing Center, the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets, the Wisconsin Poet Laureate Commission, and Woodland Pattern. And you'll be hearing more about each of those organizations throughout the evening as their readers share their poetry. A few housekeeping announcements before we begin, and some background on tonight's program. If you would please keep your microphones muted until it is your turn to read. If you are one of our readers, that would be greatly appreciated. We'll have an opportunity at the end for comments and questions, and we'll also at that time invite anyone who wasn't one of our scheduled readers to share a poem if they would like to. International Mother Language Day was proclaimed by the United Nations to promote the preservation and protection of all languages used by peoples of the world. They chose the date of February 21st to acknowledge the day in 1952 when students demonstrating for recognition of their language, Bengali, as one of the two national languages of Pakistan, were shot and killed by police in the capital of what is now Bangladesh. Due to globalization processes, languages are increasingly under threat or disappearing altogether. Within the next few generations, it is predicted that half of nearly the 7,000 languages spoken in the world will no longer exist. When languages fade, unique modes of thinking and expression, memories, traditions are lost forever. Tonight's reading celebrates the languages of the world and the diversity of our state and our communities. It also invites you to sit back and appreciate the music and rhythm of poetry. When I first started this reading in 2014, my board president thought I was crazy. She said, "Why would anyone want to go to a reading when they can't understand what's being said?" And I said, that's the whole point of it, because when you, too often when people go to poetry readings, they get very concerned about having to interpret the poet's message and getting the meaning of the poem. But when you don't know the language that's being spoken, you can relax that part of your mind and you can appreciate the poetry for the music, the rhythm, and the cadence. Your body interprets it in a very different way. So tonight's readers will be sharing poems written in the languages they grew up speaking. In some cases, the reader might also be the poet who wrote the piece. In other cases, readers are sharing a poem written by someone else. Readers will share their names in the languages in which they will be reading and may provide a little information about the poet or poems they'll read. They will not be reading English translations of their poems to allow you to fully immerse yourself in the sound of the poems. Tonight, we have 25 readers scheduled, though I know a few of them had to cancel. I think we're more around 20, and they're representing 18 languages. I want to express my sincere gratitude for their participation in tonight's events. Organizations will be reading in reverse alphabetical order. We'll be starting with Right On, and then moving on to Woodland Pattern, then the Wisconsin Poet Laureate Commission, Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets, Driftless Writing Center, and then ending with Chippewa Valley Writers Guild. In most cases, a representative of the organization will be here to tell you a bit about the work that they do and to introduce or welcome their readers. So we're beginning with my organization, Right on Door County. We are both a nonprofit writing center offering programs for writers of all ages at all stages, and a writer's residency program, providing time and space for writers to come and work on their current projects. And our residencies range anywhere from 1 week to 1 month. We're currently accepting applications through April 1st. So those of you who are writers in the room may want to consider applying for that program. We offer programs both online and in person on lands that are the ancestral homeland of the Potawatomi, Winnebago Ho-Chunk, Ojibwe, Noque, Sauk, Menominee, and Ottawa people. We honor this space as their land and home. Tonight, our readers are Amelia Canijo, Portuguese. Hannah Galt is not with us, who was our Danish reader. Mauricio Kilwan Guevara, Spanish. Maya Joresa, Croatian and French. Baptiste Paul, Creole. And then before our final reader, I do want to say a few words on behalf of a reader who was unable to be here this evening, Cristiana Trapana. So now let's begin with Amelia.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Amelia Canilho, and I am Portuguese and a longtime resident of the United States. But my mother language is very definitely Portuguese. I'm reading today, well, depending on time, a poem from a 19th century poet called Cesário Verde. It's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and the poet talks about a picnic where the thing of most interest to him were the red poppies nestled in the bosom of his lady friend. Naquele piquenique de burguesas, houve uma coisa simplesmente bela e que, sem ter história nem grandezas, em todo o caso, dava uma aguarela. Foi quando tu, descendo do burrico, foste colher, sem imposturas tolas, a um granzoal azul de grão de bico, ramalhete rubro de papoulas. Pouco depois, em cima de uns penhascos, nós acampámos, ainda o sol se via, e houve talhadas de melão, damascos e pão de ló, molhada em malvazia. Mas todo o púrpura a sair da renda, dos teus 2 seios como 2 rolas, era o supremo encanto da merenda, o ramalhete rubro das papoulas. So he died young, maybe because, you know, he looked at too many ladies' bosoms, I don't know. So the next one is from a Brazilian poet, and I will shorten it, Carlos Drummond de Andrade. And the rhythm of the language is very different. Portugal colonized Brazil and some countries in Africa, and I thought that they too should be represented. This is a love poem of 2 lovers that meet throughout the ages and never have a positive outcome to their relationship until Hollywood gets involved and their relationship ends with a kiss. So it's called Balada de Amor através das idades. Eu te gosto, você me gosta, desde tempos imemoriais. Eu era grego, você troiana. Troiana, mas não Helena. Saí do cavalo de pau para matar seu irmão. Matei, brigamos, morremos. Virei soldado romano, perseguidor de cristãos. Na porta da catacumba encontrei-te novamente. Mas quando vi você nua, caída na areia do circo, E o leão que vinha vindo, dei um pulo desesperado. E o leão comeu nós dois. Hoje sou moço moderno. Remo, pulo, danço, boxo. Tenho dinheiro no banco. Você é uma loura notável. Bocha, dança, pula, rema. Seu pai é que não faz gosto. Mas depois de 1000 peripécias, eu, herói da Paramount, te abraço, beijo e casamos. The final one is rather short. It's from a poet from Mozambique. And it's called Aphorism. And it's basically about the struggle of the people of Mozambique against Portuguese colonialism. This gentleman was the first African person that spoke Portuguese to win our national literary award, the highest award in Portugal. So I thought it should be represented. Havia uma formiga compartilhando comigo o isolamento e comendo juntos. Estávamos iguais, com duas diferenças. Não era interrogada e, por descuido, podiam pisá-la. Mas aos dois, intencionalmente, podiam pôr-nos de rastos, mas não podiam ajoelhar-nos. And that's me. That's it. Thanks for listening. Muito obrigado.
Sorry, Maurizio, you are next.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mauricio Kiwangarada, and the following poem was written by the maestro Jorge Artel, the dean of Afro-Colombian poetry in the 20th century. Muy buenas noches, soy Mauricio Kiwangarada. El siguiente poema fue escrito por el maestro Jorge Artel, el decano de la poesía afrocolombiana en el siglo XX. Velorio del boga adolescente. Desde esta noche a las 7 están prendidas las espermas, 4 estrellas temblorosas que alumbran su sonrisa muerta. Ya le lavaron la cara, le pusieron la franela y el pañuelo de 4 pintas que llevaba los días de fiesta. Hace recordar un domingo lleno de tambores y décimas, o una tarde de gallos, o una noche de plazuela. Hace pensar en los sábados trémulos de ron y de juerga, en que tiraba su grito como una atarraya abierta. Pero está rígido y frío, y una corona de besos ponen en su frente negra. Las mujeres lo lloran en el patio, aromando el café con su tristeza. Hasta parece que la brisa tiene un leve llanto de palmera. murió el boga adolescente de ágil brazo y mano férrea. Nadie clavará los arpones como él, con tanta destreza. Nadie alegrará con sus voces las turbias horas de la pesca. ¿Quién cantará el bullerengue? ¿Quién animará el fandango? ¿Quién tocará la gaita en las cumbias de Marbella? Mañana van a dejarlo bajo 4 golpes de tierra. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you.
De nada.
Thank you. Maya?
Good evening. I'm Maya Jurisic. My mother language is Croatian, and I'm going to read a short poem by Antun Gustav Matos, who was considered the champion of Croatian modernist literature and kind of opened Croatia to European currents. And one of his heroes was Baudelaire and influenced his poetry. So the title of this poem is Mačuhica. Crna kao ponoć, zlatna kao dan, Mačuhica čuti ispod rosne vaze, u kadifi bajne boje joj se maze, misliš, usred jave procvjetao san. Zato jej zovu nježno, noć i dan, naše gospođice kada preko staze starog parka ljetne sjene sjetno gaze. Kao samrt tamna, kao život sjajna, Mačuhica čuti, ali ne miriše. Ko ni njezin susjed kicoš tulipan. No u hladnoj nevi čudan život diše. Zagonetan, dubok, čaroban ko san, a kroz baršun drhti jedne duše tajna. And all that drama was about a pansy, a little flower. I'm also going to read a short poem that I learned when I was 5 years old. My mother was a linguist, spoke 6 languages, so she taught us poems in all the languages she knew. And she's 97 now, but has dementia, so she still knows the languages, but it's like a word salad of 3 or 4 or 5 different languages in one sentence, so you have to try to figure out what she's wanting to say. And this is by Paul Verlaine. Les sanglots longs des violons de l'automne blessent mon cœur d'une langueur monotone. Tout suffocant et blême quand sont l'heure, je me souviens des jours anciens et je pleure. Et je me laisse au vent mauvais qui m'emporte de ça de là, pareil à la feuille morte. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. Baptiste?
Yeah, that came up really fast. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm really happy I'm here tonight, sharing this space with everyone who just loves poetry. So tonight, I'm going to read you something in both English and Creole. It's a language that, Creole is the language that I spoke growing up. I still speak the language. And when I was a young child going through school, the language was completely forbidden in schools. We got punished, actually got beat with a leather belt if we ever got caught speaking the language. And I decided tonight to I wrote this poem a few months ago. And on March 1st will be 1 year since my dad died. And it's been a struggle, and I was still trying to figure out ways of all the pain and all the joy and just ways of understanding his grief, my grief, and losing my dad. So my poem tonight is called Me and Papa, C'est moi ek papa. C'est moi ek papa, c'est papa et puis moi, inseparable. We danced in the rain. One, epi one, around and around and around. We splashed in puddles. We read each other's face, quand à l'histoire, like a story. C'est moi et papa, c'est papa et puis moi, inseparable. Kainu, c'est plein la vie. We jammed and jammed and jammed. C'est moi et papa, c'est papa et puis moi, inseparable. Rest. Poser. Then one day, on joue, the beat stopped. Ziemwe, my eyes filled with pain, with memories. The heavens cried, lightning danced across the sky. Kute, Vewe, Kachile. Winds wrestled treetops, thunder thumped, a steady rhythm. Boom, boom, boom. My papa was playing this tune for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Baptiste. Before our last reader, I wanted to just say that we were going to have Christiana Trapana be reading with us this evening. She is the owner of Door County Candle Company, and she was going to read a poem in Ukrainian. She cannot be here tonight, but she has invited a guest to read for her. Door County Candle Company last year started making Ukrainian candles in the colors of the Ukrainian flag, which they have been selling, and all profits from those sales are going to Ukrainian relief efforts. To date, they have raised $868,000 for Raison Ukraine from the sale of those candles. And Christiana has invited a friend of hers, Ole Esvenko, who is a recent Door County resident, having been a refugee from the war and coming here to Door County. So welcome, Ole. We look forward to hearing your poem.
Thank you very much. Thank you for support of Ukraine. Christiana is amazing. She's a young lady who supported very well Ukraine, and I want to say thank you all American people, because it's a great job, and a lot American people bought these candles to support the Ukraine, and it's amazing. It's I don't know, maybe it's not a big money for USA, but almost $1 million. It's amazing money for Ukraine. And thank you that you invite people to create this amazing activity, and thank you that I can be here. And I want to read the poem of our Ukrainian hero Lina Kostenko. It's called Крила. А й правда, крилатим ґрунту не треба. Землі немає, то буде небо. Немає поля, то буде воля. Немає пари, то будуть хмари. Цьому, напевно, правда пташина. А як же людина? А що ж людина? Живе на землі, сама не літає, а крила має. А крила має. Вони ті крила не з пуху пір'я, а з правди, чесноти і довір'я. У кого з вірності у коханні, у кого з вічного поривання, у кого з щирості до роботи, у кого з щедрості до турботи, у кого з пісні або з надії, або з поезії, або з мрії. Людина нібито не літає, а крила має, а крила має. Ліна Костенко, крила. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That is the last reader for Right On. So now we will move on to Woodland Pattern, and Michael Wendt will tell you about their organization and their readers. Michael.
Hi, Jared, thank you so much, and to all at Right On Door County, and to everyone taking part in this. Really grateful to have Woodland Pattern be a part of it. We're all really excited. My name is Mike Wendt. I'm the program director at Woodland Pattern, which is a poet and artist-run nonprofit book center, gallery, and performance space located in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood, which is where we've been now for over 40 years. Each year we present over 350 programs and events that encourage collaboration and exchange across the visual, performing, and literary arts. And our book center is home to a nationally recognized collection of approximately 25,000 titles of poetry, small press literature, and ephemera, including limited run broadsides, chapbooks, zines, and other handmade items. I hope that you'll come see us in person at 720 East Locust Street, where I am right now in Milwaukee, where you can find out more about who we are and what we do on our website, woodlandpattern.org. Thank you so much again. Grateful to be part of this this evening. We have with us, really excited to welcome, reading in this order, Peter Brzezinski, Nina Gambarzadeh, Ehi Lee, and Margaret Noden. So thanks to the four of you so much for being part of the Woodland Pattern segment. So with that, I'll turn things over first then to Peter.
Hi. I'm Peter Brzezinski. I am the manager of Woodland Pattern Book Center. I am a heritage speaker of Polish. It is my first language. I am the son of Polish immigrants who call me on the phone every day. Siema, nazywam się Piotr Brzezinski. Jestem menedżerem księgarni Woodland Pattern. Polski jest mój pierwszy język. Jestem synem polskich imigrantów, którzy dzwonią do mnie codziennie. I'm going to begin with a poem of my own that was recently published in Kitchen Table Quarterly. Edukacja, czyli bunt. Na starym uniwersytecie jest stan wojenny. Dla mnie okupacja zaczęła się w domu. Teraz jest w miejscu, ale w takim miejscu, gdzie tylko niebieskie pająki znajdą człowieka. Dużo krwi tu się lało, a teraz co? Babol z nosa czeka na wygodę haftowanej chustki. Moi drodzy, tłumaczenia zmienia wszystko. And next I'm going to read a poem by a true Polish master, Czesław Miłosz, 1980 Nobel laureate. The poem's titled Ars Poetica, both in English and Polish because it's Latin. And there's a question mark after Ars Poetica. And as many of you know, Ars Poetica is a poem about poetry, and I thought about reading this one because Miłosz mentions a multitude of tongues in his muses taking over his mind as he writes poetry. Okay. Zawsze tęskniłem do formy bardziej pojemnej, która nie byłaby zanadto poezją, ani zanadto prozą. I pozwoliłoby się porozumieć, nie narażając nikogo, autora ni czytelnika, na męki wyższego rzędu. W samej istocie poezji jest coś nieprzystojnego. Powstaje z nas rzecz, o której nie widzieliśmy, że w nas jest. Więc Mrugamy oczami. Jakby wyskoczył z nas tygrys i stał w świetle, ogonem bijąc się po bokach. Dlatego słusznie się mówi, że daimonium, choć przesadza się utrzymając, że jest na pewno aniołem. Trudno pojąć, skąd się bierze ta duma poetów, jeżeli wstyd im nieraz, że widać ich słabość. Jaki rozumny człowiek zechce być państwem demonów, które rządzą się w nim jak u siebie, przemawiają mnóstwem języków, a jakby nie dość im było skraść jego usta i rękę, próbują dla swojej wygody zmienić jego los? Ponieważ co chorobliwe jest dzisiaj cenione, ktoś może myśleć, że tylko żartuje, albo wynalazłem jeszcze jeden sposób, żeby wychwalać sztukę z pomocą ironii. Był czas, kiedy czytano tylko mądre książki, pomagające znosić ból oraz nieszczęście. To jednak nie jest to samo, co zaglądając w tysiące dzieł pochodzących prosto z psychiatrycznej kliniki. A przecież świat jest inny niż nam się wydaje. I my jesteśmy inni niż w naszym bredzeniu. Ludzie więc zachowują milczącą uczciwość, tak zyskując szacunek krewnych i sąsiadów. Ten pożytek z poezji, że nam przypomina, jak trudno jest pozostać tą samą osobą, bo dom nasz jest otwarty, w drzwiach nie ma klucza, a niewiedzialni gości wchodzą i wychodzą. Co tutaj opowiadam, poezją, zgoda nie jest, bo wiersze wolno pisać rzadko i niechętnie, pod jednocznym przymusem i tylko z nadzieją, że dobre, nie złe duchy mają w nas instrument. Dziękuję bardzo. Thank you, everyone. I want to translate one poem. Język. Język is my favorite word in Polish, and it's also my favorite word in English. It means tongue, and it's has a lot of uses, as you know. Anywho, thank you so very much for having me here. This is so fantastic to hear everyone read in their languages. Thank you again. Dziękuję jeszcze raz.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nina Gambarzadeh. Thank you for inviting me to this beautiful evening of poetry reading. I just need to mention that I'm a visual artist, and poetry reading has not been on my radar. So I was kind of nervous when I got invited to this evening, especially reciting in Farsi. That is by itself is a skill and is an art by itself in front of a group of professionals like yourself. So I had to do a bit of a practice for tonight, and I will do my best to do justice to this beautiful poem. This poem is from Sohrab Sepehri, who's a contemporary artist and poet. He died quite young, in his early 50s in 1980. I sometimes use a verse or two of his poets in my drawings, and I particularly like his works because he uses words to express his deepest emotions and helplessness. He also has a profound respect for humanity and nature. I hope you enjoy this piece by him. It is called Beyond the Seas. پشت دریاها قایقی خواهم ساخت، خواهم انداخت به آب، دور خواهم شد از این خاک غریب که در آن هیچ کسی نیست که در بیشه عشق قهرمانان را بیدار کند. قایق از تور تهی و دل از آرزوی مروارید همچنان خواهم راند. نه به آبی‌ها دل خواهم بست، نه به دریا. پریانی که سر از آب به در می آرند و در آن تابش تنهایی ماهیگیران می فشانند فسون از سر گیسوهاشان. همچنان خواهم راند، همچنان خواهم خواند. دور باید شد، دور. مرد آن شهر اساطیر نداشت. زن آن شهر به سرشاری یک خوشه انگور نبود. هیچ آینه تالاری سرخوشی‌ها را تکرار نکرد. چال آبی حتی مشعلی را ننمود. دور باید شد، دور. شب سرودش را خواند. نوبت پنجره هاست. همچنان خواهم خواند، همچنان خواهم راند. پشت دریاها شهری است که در آن پنجره ها رو به تجلی باز است. بامها جای کبوترهایی است که به فواره هوش بشری می‌نگرد. دست هر کودک 10 ساله شهر خانه معرفتی است. مردم شهر به یک چینه چنان می‌نگرند که به یک شعله، به یک خواب لطیف. خاک موسیقی احساس تو را می‌شنود و صدای پر مرغان اساطیر می‌آید در باد. پشت دریاها شهری است که در آن وسعت خورشید به اندازه چشمان سحرخیزان است. شاعران وارث آب و خرد و روشنی‌اند. پشت دریاها شهری است. قایقی باید ساخت. متشکرم. Thank you.
There we go. Hello, my name is Ahi Lee, and it's just an honor to be in this space and be a listener to all these languages. It's just a wonderful experience. Thank you for inviting me. And today I'll be reading 2 little poems, and the first one I wanted to read it because a dear friend of mine recently came to visit me, and I'm still feeling so full of love for her. And I just wrote this poem recalling the times we used to sing Basilos Cara Luna together. Oh, and a little bit of background. Like, I was born in Korea, but I grew up in Peru since I was at the age of 3. So like Spanish and Korean kind of were my first languages. It's kind of hard to tell which one was first for me. I think it was Korean because my mom spoke Korean. So, but then Spanish kind of caught up pretty quickly in there. So this first one is called Road Trip, and it has Spanish and English together. Road Trip. Our hands lull out the car windows. Tal vez solo yo lleno. Hola, hola, to be wilder the cornstalks. Esta canción de recuerdos ajenos. On our way to Chicago, morning, temiendo perder, hasn't widened yet into afternoon, contra lo que se pierde. But a September moon is out early to overhear us, la tristeza que le sigue. Sin vacilos es cara luna in unison, poco a poco, esta sencillez de sentimientos. The rear view mirror diligently catches, estoy segura, de que desvanecerán our miles, which seem to roll away, así como todo cuerpo, like apples. But the road reappears, toda pena, before us anew as a yet untroubled sheet, hasta este camino de riachuelo y cielo of water. Steadily or not, we move forward, pero al menos en este momento, while looking back, the 3 of us, pido por algo más profundo, each from a different Latin American town, aún más absoluto, how we tangled our bodies towards the music, que la pérdida y el olvido, behind our Korean parents' backs. No desconoceré que los días son cortos, as our first love spun us around, senseless, y sé de que hecho diremos adiós under the blushing magenta lights, más veces que las semillas de girasol, how we're meant for beautiful, pero por ahora cantamos, meetings, how history is also made of these. Estamos aquí in the middle of a highway. Estamos aquí, that's not ours, our voices. Y la luna nos seguirá like tin bells ache to shatter. Hasta el fin de la pista, this song we share, cantando también against the wind, bella, desafinada. And the second poem is in Korean and it's called Baekya, or by Kim Hae-sun. And I just love this poem because it's so full of dark with grief, but at the same time bright with longing. Baekya. 내가 답장할 수 없는 곳에서 편지가 오리라. 내가 이미 거기 있다고, 내가 이미 너를 떠났다고, 내 모든 걸 알고 있는 구멍에서 밝은 편지가 오리라. 죽어서 모두 환하게 알게 된 사람의 뇌처럼 밝은 편지가 오리라. 내 탄생 전의 날들처럼 어제도 없고 내일도 없는 넓고 넓은 편지가 오리라. 빛으로 만든 마차의 방울소리, 고즈넉이 울리고 빛으로 만든 바지를 입은 소녀의 까르르 웃음소리, 밤 없는 세상이 두드리는 마지막 지하철이 지상으로 올라가고 플랫폼의 기차들이 일제히 불을 켠 채 말없이 너를 잊어주는, 너는 발이 없어 못 가지만 내 아이젓 아이들은 이미 거기 가 있거늘 내 검은 글씨로 답장조차 할 수 없는 그 밝은 구멍에게서 편지가 오리라. 내 아이들이 내 앞에서 나이를 먹고 너 먼저 윤회하러 떠나버린 그곳에 밝고 밝은 빛의 잉크로 적은 쓴 편지가 오리라. 이 세상에 태어나 한 번도 어둠을 맞아본 적 없는 그곳에서 지금 막 태어난 아기가 첫 눈을 뜨고 마주한 찬란한 첫 빛, 커다랗고 커다란 편지가 오리라. Thank you.
Bonjour, Jadiv. I'm Margaret Newton, and I have just two poems for you. Both are languages that I had to learn after I had learned English. They are languages spoken by my ancestors. The first is in Ojibwe, and the second one is in Gaelic, in Irish. Babuanon soswaning namamashtanshi owning wiganan in ocean sag nimhiwad wabmagwa nan golden nong shikayat nan golden nong nijiwad Ubako amji gazawad sakon and mowat noka jomi when it was minwa washkawiden. So that was one in the language of Minnewaukee. And then here's another, which I guess Minnewaukee has traces of Irish as well. This one is called Gaelta. And maybe I guess I neglected to say, being a poet for a long time, these are both poems of my own. Jenna Malka de Huna, mo Gaelta goler, mo sinser mo tish mo hori, mo chlan mo shlachte, o paper e picture, August de mo chud chumnikin, Creajim in a good padrika, August in a good jora, a good fashikta in inshingen, kachur la fanak de foga. Kachur la helo a chine, August kindoi kun skela a skala a tachan. Rudy Ellis agan trina, Dochamid a salo, an chud ela a foglam with G. Skelta a inshimit de hele, ni mor gin a shil a mullen, an mud a takraicha, August card a tafosh la felke. So gitchimigwech. Cormila Mila Maigut, thank you for listening. This is a wonderful event to be part of.
Thank you, everyone from Woodland Pattern. Next, we'll welcome Angie Trudell Vasquez from the Wisconsin Poet Laureate Commission. Angie?
Hello, thank you for having me. And I will just say a little bit about the Wisconsin Poet Laureate Commission. The Wisconsin Poet Laureate Commission is the state's leading voice for poetry. The Poet Laureate is selected every 2 years by a body of volunteers. And those volunteers perform many functions of a organization, from the call to making the decisions. But we're not alone. We're many folks. We are at large, and we are of various organizations, including the Wisconsin Academy of Sciences, Arts, and Letters. In 2000, there was Wisconsin Governor Tommy Thompson established us, but then Scott Walker pretty much ended our funding. So we've become part of the Wisconsin Academy of Science and Arts and Letters ever since. We're also part of the Wisconsin Center for the Book, the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets, Wisconsin Humanities, Wisconsin Arts Board, the Chippewa Valley Writers Guild, and of course, Right on Door County. We're also part of the former Council for Wisconsin Writers. And so we meet every 2 years, select a state poet laureate, and help the poet laureate navigate the world. And many of the people that are in this space are also part of the organization, current and former. And it certainly is a lot of work, but it's done joyfully and with some of the best poets and community people in the country. So with that, I don't believe our writers are here, our readers are here. Jared, I think there was a conflict, so I do apologize unless one of them popped in.
I am here, Angie. Hi, Angie. I'm
Yay,
here.
okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Should I go?
Please, yes, thank you.
Okay, sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you. This is beautiful. I'm just enjoying this so much. My name is Pilar Melero, and I will be reading one poem of my own. I've been writing poetry for a while. I was born and raised in Mexico, and I write both in English and Spanish and in Spanglish. This is a poem that I wrote during COVID. We lost a lot of people in our family, and also I'm in my 50s, so I've been losing people, and so this is a way for me to connect back to my dad and kind of listen to their winged voices, which is the name of the poem, Los ecos alados de mis muertos. So I'm going to start. En las tardes largas en que el sol se va doblando en pliegues purpúreos detrás del bosque que aloja mis días, tejen mi añoranza las voces perpetuas de mis muertos. El chuparroso enamora a un geranio en el patio de enfrente. Lleva un poema colgado del pico y zumba suspiros que deja regados por el minutero lento que mide el recuerdo. En mi jardín se va dibujando un higo, un durazno, una alabanza, la luz apacible que se unta en las paredes del día, igual que la resolana en los muros de adobe. En tardes como esta, allá donde los cerros miden la distancia, la vida se iba a ensurcir una media, en soñar quedito mientras la avidez oscura del reliz se iba tragando los últimos destellos del día. A lo lejos, enmarcadas por el sol que se cuela por una puerta abierta, asoman solemnes las páginas de un libro. ¿Acaso sea Esopo y sus escarabajos magos? ¿O será un misal, o el Cid, o el Quijote, o el libro del diablo, o Romeo y Julieta? ¿O serán las historias regadas entre las piedras del camino, en esas mañanas en que era necesario adivinar sueños, inventar noticias y dar los buenos días desde el humo de un faro? O quizá perderse en las notas de un arpa. Un potro relincha desde el grito hueco del etéreo. El sol va muriendo. Cierro la cortina. La mesa delata los ecos de voces deshilando historias, manos sabedoras trazando lentas la geografía de un pastel. Alguien cumple años, habrá piñata y algarabía y naranjas y risas y prisas y se cierra el día y se van apagando los ecos alados de mis muertos. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie and Pilar. We'll move on to Ronnie Hess with the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets.
Good evening, and so good to be here and to see everybody. As Jared said, I am Ronnie Hess. I'm the co-president with Kathy Kofel of the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets, which is believed to be the oldest poetry organization in Wisconsin. We are going to celebrate 75 years of organization in 2025. And our task, not so much a task, our joy is to promote poetry around the state and to encourage fellowship among everyone, among our members, but also anybody who loves poetry. And we do that with conferences, workshops, readings, and contests. Our next conference is April the 28th and 29th in Oshkosh. Is that right? Please join us, and otherwise visit us at wfop.org. We have 7 readers tonight who are all members of Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets. I'll just mention their names and a little bit about them, and we will go in the order in which I am announcing them. Olga Trubetskoy, who is a biologist, musician, translator, and poet who lives with her husband in Middleton. She writes and translates poetry both in Russian and English. She's the author of Fairy Tales of the Russian Galaxy, about life somewhere between 2 cultures and 2 languages. She'll be followed by Roberto Harrison, who was born in Oregon to Panamanian parents. He and his family moved to Panama when he was a year old, and then to Delaware in 1969. He's the author of many books of poetry and was Milwaukee Poet Laureate for 2017 to 2019. Following Roberto will be Gundiga Korsts, who typically for a Latvian has always lived with poetry, and from her earliest days in a refugee camp after World War II, traditional Latvian dainas shaped her understanding of the world. Latvian is the language of her heart, and English is the language of her intellect. After her, Manny or Manuel Moraleda, who is a retired school teacher who lives in Clintonville. His first language was Waray, an ethnic language spoken by people in the 2 island provinces of Samar and the eastern half of Leyte in the central Philippines. Deniso Yuki Castillo is a PhD candidate of Hispanic literature at UW-Madison and a teaching assistant of Spanish. She'll be followed by Sahara Majumder, who started out as a biological engineering major at the University of Florida before shifting to biomedical engineering and then chemical sciences. She moved to Madison to work for Epic Systems and now at Mindshift Technologies. And she's the author of The Unreliable Narrator Wakes Up, a series of free-form prose poems for 2022. The last will be Dee Lambert, who was born in Vienna, and she is currently living in the Driftless area in Cazenovia. She's working on a novel based on her mother's life. She continues to write poetry and translate the work of 19th century German author Theodor Storm. So first, Olga, please join me in welcoming Olga.
Hello, my name is Olga Trubetskoy, as was said, and I very much appreciate this wonderful event to hear so many languages, so many music. For me, as a poet and musician, it's especially important to hear a rhythm and melody of the words. And I will read 2 poems today. One short one is my own, and it's called Listya in Korni, and leaves and roots. And it's about, I think, time of the year right now. It's approaching spring. but it's also about interaction between different generation roots that give life to the buds, yet unopened leaves. So, листья и корни, плетение веток и корней, тропинка к дому, смешение света и теней, узор знакомый, но не собраться, не пройти, не оглядеться, смятение веток и корней на ткани сердца, и не понять, где свод корней, где кроны веток, в каких узлах запутан ствол, в каких отметках, куда ступить, чтобы не зажать кровообращение, движением резким не прерывать сердцебиение. Сосуды легкие бегут, набухли жилы, сердечный ритм, как метроном, супругой силой согнул сплетение корней в тугие строчки, соединенные в стволы поодиночке. Надулись вены на корнях, кора буграми, на ветках в темных бороздах сошлась краями, как шрамы ран, что на коре не заживают. Но под корою соков кровь, вода оживает. Течет река волнения, слез к дрожащим листьям. Там где-то почки, в черенках застыли ввысь, и эти почки на концах, подняв головки, те, не раскрывшиеся листвой, звучат неловко. Звучат, как будущий аккорд, неторопливый, как обещание новых форм весны прилив. My second poem is by Russian Nobel Prize laureate Iosif Brodsky, known in English as Joseph Brodsky. And it's connected to the first one just by meaning, because it's called Sretenia. And Sretenia is a religious holiday, very important for Russia. It's a meeting of all the New Testaments together. And in this poem, he's talking about how the elder Simeon approaching the Mother of God Mary, bringing Christ into the temple, and how the meaning of this forever is being changed, how light is approaching, and he carries us together. Сретение. Когда она в церковь впервые внесла дитя, находились внутри из числа людей, находившихся там постоянно, святой Симеон и пророчица Анна, и старец воспринял младенца из рук Марии, и 3 человека вокруг младенца стояли, как зыбкая рама, то утро затеряны в сумраке храма, тот храм обступал их, как замерший лес, от взглядов людей, от взоров небес вершины скрывали, сумев распластаться в то утро Марию, пророчицу старца, только на теме случайным лучом свет падал младенцу, но он ни о чем не ведал еще и посапывал сонно, покоясь на крепких руках Симеона. А было поведано старцу сему о том, что увидит он смертную тьму не прежде, чем сына увидит Господня. Вершилось, и старец промолвил: сегодня, реченное некогда слово храня, ты с миром, Господь, отпускаешь меня. Затем, что глаза мои видели это, дитя, он твое продолжение, и света источник для идолов чтящих племен, и слава Израиля в нем. Симеон умолкнул, их всех тишина обступила. Лишь их этих слов, задевая стропила, кружилась какое-то время спустя над их головами, слегка шелестя под сводами храма, как некая птица, что в силах взлететь, но не в силах спуститься. И странно им было, была тишина не менее странной, чем речь смущена. Мария молчала, слова-то какие. И старец сказал, обращаясь к Марии, лежащим сейчас на режменах твоих, падение одних, возвышение других, предмет пререканий и повод к раздорам, и к тем же оружием Марии, которым терзаема плоть его, будет твоя душа, будет ранена. Рана сия дать видеть тебе, что сокрыто глубоко в сердцах человека, как некое око. Он кончен и двинулся к выходу. Вслед Марии, сутулись и тяжестью лет, как бедная Анна, безмолвно глядели. Он шел, уменьшаясь в значении в теле. Для двух этих женщин под тенью колонн, почти подгоняемых взглядами, он шагал по застывшему храму пустому, белевшему смутно дверному проему. И поступь была стариковски тверда, лишь голос пророчицы в саде, когда раздался. Он шаг придержал свой немного, но там не его окликали, а Бога. Пророчица слава уже начала, и дверь приближалась, а одежды тела уж ветер коснулся, и вот прямо врывался шум жизни за стенами храма. Он шел умирать, и не в уличный гум. Он дверь, отворивши руками, шагнул, он глухонемые владение смерти. Он шел по пространству, лишенному тверди. Он слышал, что время утратило звук, и образ младенца с сиянием вокруг пушистого темени смертной тропою душа семена нанесла пред собой, как некий светильник в ту черную тьму, в которой дотоле еще никому дорогу себя зарять не случалось. Светильник светил, и тропа расширялась. Спасибо. Thank you very much. Thank you for
Спасибо, Olga. Next up is Roberto Harrison.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for everybody involved in organizing this, for inviting me to be a part of it. From what I understood, the initial instructions for me were to provide something for 1 minute. So I wrote a poem. It's about 45 seconds long in Spanish, and then I'll show 2 drawings for 7 seconds each, and that should be about a minute. La cara de nunca se fue. Tú no me oyes. Aquí yo llevo la luna, y aquí a veces yo encuentro maíz. Pero tú no me oyes. Y tú no me veas por allá con las plantas, con los animales que yo todavía llevo hasta aquí. Pero tú no me oyes, porque yo me olvidé algo de principio. Pero aquí yo llevo todo, y tú no me oyes, hasta que yo te traigo mis dibujos antes de la voz. So I don't know if the drawings came through or not, but that was it. Thank you. Miigwech. Gracias.
They did come through. Thank you. Next reader is Gundiga Korsts.
I'm Gundiga Korsts, reading in Latvian, a literary poem, Velta tuoma bēglis. Aiz manis tumsā zūd ceļi, deg mājas un sagrūst tilts, un visi dzīvie kļūst veļi. Kā vēju vajāta smilts, es klīstu pa svešām vietām, bez darba, dusas un silts. That is a refugee poem from 1944. Literary poetry goes back only, well, less than 2 centuries. The folk poetry goes back many centuries. We have hundreds of thousands of stanzas, all singable to any of 10,000 melodies. So, Gundiga Korsts, dod dieviņi. Dod dieviņi tīru sirdī, skaidru prātu rītiņā, caur dieniņu čaklas rokas, dusu mīlu vakarā. There I am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gundiga. Next is Manny Moraleda. Manny, would you like to unmute? Can you unmute your microphone? Jared, can you do that for him?
I can only hit the ask to unmute, which I've done, so I'm not sure what else we can do.
Manny, it should be at the bottom of your screen on the left-hand side, a microphone icon, which if you click it, the red line going through it should undo itself. Good. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll be reading 2 poems right there. I mean, this is a song composed by the professor in my town, Agustinello Mora, and the music is he composed the music, and I wrote down the lyrics right here. So this is the whole song right now. An iroy nga tuna. Ang iroy nga tuna, matamis pagpuyan. Bisdin mansiplat puros kasangkayan. Hahani ang hingpit nga kalipayan. Hahani herananay pati kabugtuan. Oh, Reds, I need help. Reds, I need help. Reggie. I press the button right there on that.
We can hear you fine.
Oh, you can hear
Please
me?
continue. Yes, please continue.
Okay. I will start from the beginning. Aniroy nga tuna, matamis pagpuyan, bisan din siplat, puros kasangkayan. Hahanian hingpit ngat kalipayan, harani, hira nanay, pati kabugtuan. Kayan Pilipinas, talwas na nga tuna, naduyog pag-uswag, andako nga nasod, mayada pagdasig at huna-huna, hindi ri pagtugot kita pagtamayon. Salamat uyamot, hiton kalangitan, uray na mabugon ang kasakitan. Kaya atun uripon nga nayon, labi kamabait, kay hadton kamatayon. Duruyog pagampo, hinin katiripon, nga di mo bubalik ang pagkauripon, kay rohan sumunod kung tulong ang bitoon, ngan adlaw matunod. This is composed by the same person. In music, now I have the lyrics. So I call this poem form. This is the hymn to my town. He composed this one. Sumirang harikadayunan an mabaysay nga bituon, hiton imo kapalaran, diri halangit, birilngon. Lumanas na anam siga, an waray pagkawaring, ngan magin usa na gidla, dumdum kalag o kasing-kasing. Magurugup ngan magunungan, an palo igundong ta, hadungog og kabulahan, nga dayuday buhila. Magurupod, magurusa, han palad bisdugo, an imbong to han at gugma, natawuhan nga palo. Thank you.
Thank you, Manny, very much. Next is Denise Oyuki Castillo.
Hi, everyone. I have been kind of a little nervous or very nervous about which poem to choose. I choose 3 different ones. So very quick, I will say that my first poem, it was by a Chicana artist, and I really feel very represented as a Mexican American. And then I also have a poem that actually was written for me, by me. And the third one and the last that I choose, actually, and the one that I'm gonna read to you, it's from a Cuban American writer. Then it was very important to bring attention to involve the African rights, and the reason that I choose that last one instead of the others, it was because today I'm particularly grateful for what I have. So in Spanish, when you say I have, it's tengo. So we don't say I am cold, we'll say we have colds. I don't know if that makes sense to other speakers in other language or if happens, but in Spanish, we say that. Apparently so that's kind of good for me. So I am not 45. I have 35, I'm sorry. 45, not yet. I'm not 35. I have 35 years of experience. So anyway, I will read you this poem by Nicolás Guillén from Cuba. Then it's called Tengo. Tengo. Cuando me veo y toco, yo, Juan sin nada, no más ayer, y hoy Juan con todo. Y hoy con todo, vuelvo mis ojos y miro y me veo y toco y me pregunto cómo ha podido ser. Tengo, vamos a ver, tengo el gusto de andar por mi país, dueño de cuanto hay en él, mirando bien lo de cerca que antes no pude ni pude tener. Zafra, puedo decir, monte, puedo decir, ciudad, puedo decir, ejército, puedo decir, ya míos, para siempre y tuyos, nuestros, y un ancho resplandor de estrella, rayo, sol, flor. Tengo, vamos a ver, tengo el gusto de ir yo, campesina, obrera, gente simple, tengo el gusto de ir, es un ejemplo, a un banco o a un administrador, no en inglés, no en señor, sino decirle compañero, como se dice en español. Tengo, vamos a ver, que siendo un negro, nadie me puede detener a la puerta de un dancing o de un bar, o bien en la carpeta de un hotel, o girarme que no, o gritarme que no hay una pieza. No una pieza, sino una pieza sencilla donde yo pueda descansar. Tengo, vamos a ver, que no hay un guarda rural que me agarre y me encierre en una cárcel, ni que me arranque y me arroje de la tierra al medio del campo. Tengo que, como tengo la tierra, tengo el mar, no country, no high life, no tenis, no watch, sino de playa en playa y en ola, gigante, abierto, democrático, en fin, el mar. Tengo, vamos a ver, que ya aprendí a leer, ya aprendí a contar, tengo que ya aprendí a escribir y a pensar y a reír. Tengo que ya tengo dónde trabajar y ganar lo que me tengo que comer. Tengo, vamos a ver, tengo lo que tenía que tener. Gracias.
Okay. Next is Sahara Majumdar.
Thanks, Ronnie. So as Jared mentioned at the beginning, today is International Mother Language Day. You might not know this if you joined late. Jared also mentioned this, but International Mother Language Day started as a national holiday in Bangladesh as Language Movement Day. So I am honored and happy to share a poem today in Bengali, which is the native language of Bangladesh. A little bit of background on the holiday itself. This holiday commemorates a day on February 21st, 1952, when university students at the University of Dhaka, which is my parents' alma mater, in Bangladesh, were massacred for protesting their right to speak their native language. And they faced ethnic cleansing for years until Bangladesh became its own country. So Bangladesh literally means country of Bangla, and Bengali people are very proud to speak their native language and have preserved that language. So I was going to ask that we take a minute to just have a moment of silence to remember the freedom fighters that are no longer with us. But in the interest of time, out of respect for everyone, I just ask that you please take a moment out of your night today to do that on your own time. Without further ado, I'll just share a poem in Bengali that I have prepared. This poem is about people that think they have a bird's eye view, but are in fact closed-minded. In English, I titled it The People That Think They Have It All Figured Out. In Bengali, I call it Kichu Paki. Kichu Paki onek uchu akashe boshe থাকে আর দেখতে থাকে অনেক দাম দিয়ে কাকে তারা বিচার করতে পারে, কিন্তু ওরা জানে না যে কিছু পাখি তার চেয়ে উপরের থেকে দেখতে পারে, আর কিছু কিছু পাখি ভয়ের জন্য আরো উঁচু ওর থেকে পারে না. And that's all I have for you all.
Okay, thank you very much. So our last reader, poet, is Dee Lambert. Dee?
Well, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. As you said, I was born in Austria, and my name is actually Hildegard. So I picked this poem, kind of what Jared was talking about. It's a well-known poem. It's been translated quite often. It's the Erlkönig by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. And we were required to memorize this poem when I was in grade school, but I have to read it these days because I don't remember it all. But I love the rhythm. You can almost understand what is happening because of the rhythm. It's based on a folk story about the elf king. Wer reitet so spät durch Nacht und Wind? Es ist der Vater mit seinem Kind. Hat den Knaben wohnend im Arm. Fasst ihn sicher, hält ihn warm. Mein Sohn, was birgst du so bang dein Gesicht? Siehst, Vater, du den Erlkönig nicht? Den Erlkönig mit Kron und Schweif? Mein Sohn, es ist ein Nebelstreif. Du liebes Kind, komm, geh mit mir. Gar schöne Spiele spiel ich mit dir. Manch bunte Blumen sind an den Strand. Meine Mutter hat manch gülden Gewand. Mein Vater, und hörst du nicht, was Erlenkönig mir leise verspricht? Sei ruhig, bleibe beruhigt, mein Kind. In dürren Blättern säuselt der Wind. Willst, feiner Knabe, du mit mir gehen? Meine Töchter sollen dich warten schön. Meine Töchter führen den nächtlichen Rhein und wiegen und tanzen und singen dich ein. Mein Vater, und siehst du dich dort, Erlkönigs Töchter, am düsteren Ort? Mein Sohn, ich sehe es genau, es scheinen die alten Weiden so grau. Ich liebe dich mit Reiz deiner schönen Gestalt, und bist du nicht willig, so brauch ich Gewalt. Mein Vater, jetzt fasst er mich an. Erlkönig hat mir ein Leids getan. Dem Vater graus es, reitet geschwind. Hält in Armen das ächzende Kind. Reicht den Hof mit Mühe und Not. In seinen Armen das Kind war tot. It's a sad poem. And just another little one by one of my favorite German authors, Theodor Storm. He's a 19th century writer, but wrote the most romantic poems and almost in a contemporary style. They were very simple. This one's called Im Walde. Hier an der Bergeshalde verstummet ganz der Wind. Die Zweige hängen nieder, darunter sitzt das Kind. Sie sitzt in Tiamiane, sie sitzt in lauter Duft. Die blauen Fliegen summen und blitzen durch die Luft. Es steht der Wald so schweigend, sie schaut so klug darein. Ihre braunen Locken hin fließt der Sonnenschein. Der Kuckuck lacht von ferne, es geht mir durch den Sinn. Sie hat die goldenen Augen der Waldeskönigin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Back to you, Jared.
Okay, thank you, everyone with the Fellowship of Poets. Next, we'll move on to Lisa Henner with the Driftless Writing Center. Lisa?
Hi, thank you so much for having us. I'm Lisa Henner. I'm the co-founder of the Driftless Writing Center. We're a volunteer-led nonprofit headquartered in Viroqua. Also, the co-founders and partners in the first ever Ridges and Rivers Book Festival to take place in Viroqua this April, the 28th through the 30th. We would love for you all to make the trip to the Driftless region and visit us. We have 4 poets this evening, or 4 readers this evening, I should say. 2 of them from here in Viroqua, Malka Geller and Gabby Marvan, and 2 from La Crosse. We have Dr. Sana Ilahe, hope I did that right, and Sona Kazemi, and they will read in that order. Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'm first, yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me to this beautiful event. I've been enjoying it very much. And I will be reading one poem, and it's by my mother. Let me just tell you a little bit about her first, because she was born in 1921 in Essen, Germany, and she wrote this poem in 1942, a year before she met my father and 5 years before I was born. Of course, it's during the height of World War II, but she makes no mention of it in this particular poem. She did many times in other poems, but not in this one. This one is simply about the feelings of a 21-year-old woman saying goodbye to a friendship. She was a romantic, idealistic person who was deeply influenced by nature and the changing seasons. And that's why this poem is called Fall Farewell, after a friendship. Just one more little thing about my mom. She was a lifelong and prolific writer and poet, but she never tried to publish her works, which is really sad. Because even in elementary school, she was already writing. And between the ages of 8 and 12, a kind teacher helped her to publish her early works in the Essener Volkszeitung, the local newspaper. When she turned 75, my sister Katharina collected all of her poems and had them bound by a prison print shop. Now, as an aside, unfortunately, it wasn't to my mother's liking, and she was very upset when my sister presented it. It caused a huge upheaval. But later on, her husband then published her works with better print, not from this print shop. So this is all in the old Gothic writing, and we have all her poetry in here. And so this poem, Fall Farewell, talks about her final goodbyes to a friendship with a man whom she did not want to marry. The time of year is fall, and she talks about the tired earth, müde Erde, fading roses, about the dahlias, brief, dazzling splendor before they die, and then the impending farewell. Their time together was short yet rich, resembling the brief beauty of spring blossoms. She speaks about the emptiness when he's gone, about spring and summer gone, and hearing the crows' screechings as fall moves in. The sound of the crows cuts into her heart. The farewell hurts so much. Soon the snow will cover the tired earth. Herbstabschied. Nach einer Freundschaft. Wenn der Herbstwind durch die Bäume fegt, auf die müde Erde bunte Blätter legt, wenn die Vögel gegen Süden ziehen und die Heiderosen blass verblühen, wenn die Sonne rot am Himmel glüht und Altweibersommer durch die Lüfte flieht, wenn noch einmal vor dem Sterben hell entfacht aller Dahlien grell bunte Pracht, dann ist auch der Abschied nicht mehr weit und vorbei ist unsere schöne Zeit. Sie war so kurz und doch so reich, wohl einem schönen, lichten Blütenfrühling gleich. Nun musst fort du, in mir ist es so leer. Dein liebes Auge seh ich nimmermehr. Und Frühling, Sommer, alles ist vorbei. Der Herbst ist da, ich höre der Krähen Schrei. Sie krächzen laut, ihr Ton schneit mir ins Herz. Mein Lieb, wie weh tut doch der Abschiedsschmerz. Du bist mein Alles, ja, nur du. Bald deckt der Schnee die müde Erde zu. Thank you.
Gabby? Hola. Hola, thank you, Lisa, for the Driftless Writing Center for inviting me to this reading of poet. I am more a visual artist and a sculptor, but so I do more like images and things, but you do art through your words. So I'm amazed to see all you here, and I feel very thankful to be invited. So I'm gonna try to do my best. I chose two poems from, one is from a poet, a woman, Alejandra Pizarnik, and it's called La Noche, the night. So this is: poco sé de la noche, pero la noche parece saber de mí, y más aún me asiste como si me quisiera. Me cubre la conciencia con sus estrellas. Tal vez la noche sea la vida y el sol la muerte. Tal vez la noche no es nada. Tal vez la noche es nada, y las conjeturas sobre ella nada, y los seres que la viven nada. Tal vez las palabras sean lo único que existe. En el nombre vacío de los siglos que nos arañan el alma con sus recuerdos. Pero la noche ha de conocer la miseria, que bebe de nuestra sangre y de nuestras ideas. Ella ha de arrojar odio a nuestras miradas, subiéndolas llenas de interés, de desencuentros. Pero sucede que oigo a la noche llorar en mis huesos, su lágrima inmensa delira, y grita algo que se fue para siempre. Alguna vez volveremos a ser. This is the first one from Alejandra Pizarnik. And the second one that I chose is from a poet from Mexico, from the 20th century. His name is Jaime Sabines. It's also about some night, but it's called La Luna, the moon. La luna se puede tomar a cucharadas o como una cápsula cada 2 horas. Es buena como hipnótico y sedante también, y también alivia. A los que se han intoxicado de filosofía, un pedazo de luna en el bolsillo es el mejor amuleto que la pata de conejo. Sirve para encontrar a quien se ama, para ser rico sin que lo sepa nadie, y para alejar a los médicos y las clínicas. Se puede dar de postre a los niños cuando no se han dormido. Y unas gotas de luna en los ojos de los ancianos ayudan a bien morir. Pon una hoja tierna de la luna debajo de tu almohada y mirarás lo que quieras ver. Lleva siempre un frasquito del aire de la luna para cuando te ahogues. Y dale la llave de la luna a los presos y a los desencantados, para los condenados a muerte y para los condenados a vida. No hay mejor estimulante que la luna en dosis precisas y controladas. Gracias.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sana. I am at UWL, and my native language is Urdu. I'm from Pakistan. I'll be sharing excerpts from 2 poems with you. So the first one is from Mirza Asadullah Ghalib, and he's a 19th century poet from the combined India, Pakistan, Bangladesh region. And he saw many miseries in his life, including the fact that he never really got recognized until way later in his life. He didn't really get recognized as the poet for the caliber that he was. And by the time he gets to that stature, because he's one of the most recognized poets from that century in the time, but by the time he gets recognized, he's also seeing the British colonial rule come into that side of the world. And so he writes about a lot of those things. But in this particular poem, I'm not sure what he's writing about, but he's writing about some misery that he's going through. And he is talking about that he's really saying that it's a heart, it's my heart, and it's not a stone or a rock. So of course it will feel the pain, it gets hurt. And anytime I would recite this poem, my mom usually discourages me from using the word cry because it says I will cry. And in my response to her, and I stopped singing, reciting this one a lot, but in my response to her, I usually tell her that no, he's saying that how dare you do anything bad to me, or I will cry. So he's not being victimized. He's kind of saying that don't it's my heart, I will cry out. So I will sing this, not read this. दिल ही तो है न संगो खिश्त, दर्द से भर न आए क्यों, रोएंगे हम हजार बार, रोएंगे हम हजार बार, कोई हमें सताए क्यों, हाँ वो नहीं खुदा परस्त, जाओ वो बेवफा सही, जिसको हो दीनो दिल अजीज, वो इस गली में आए क्यों, गालिबे खास्ता के बगैर कौन से काम बंद हैं, रोइए जार जार क्या कीजिए हाय हाय क्यों, दिल ही तो है न संगो खिश्त. So that's the first one. And it goes longer, but I just picked an excerpt. Thank you. The next one is from a 20th century poet called Faiz Ahmed Faiz. His first name and surname are the same, and then he has a different middle name. Faiz Ahmed Faiz is, again, one of the most renowned poets from the Pakistan region. And he has been the governments have not been very fond of him in the times that he wrote. He went to prison a few times also. He's been called communist. He's written against the corrupt system so much, capitalist system, the greed so much. In this particular poem, he writes about a beloved, the longing for a beloved. But some of the interpretations also say that this is really he's longing for an era that is full of love, that brings in the springtime. So this is about springtime. And it's really saying that it's asking the springtime to, that all of the flowers are blossoming, but really the business the business of spring is only going to come about if you, my beloved, are going to be here. And at some point he also talks about prison, but he talks about prison of mind and prison of body, that my prison is really sad right now without you. So so it's actually, what's interesting is pleading to the wind to just talk about my beloved somewhere, so the winds blow the talk of the beloved into the prison. It's really beautiful. So I'll also sing this. Gulon mein rang bhare, baadino bahar chale, chale bhi aao ke गुलशन का कारोबार चले, गुलों में रंग भरे, बादलों बहार चले, कफ़स उदास है यारो सबा से कुछ तो कहो, कहीं तो बहरे खुदा आज जिक्र यार चले, मकाम फैज कोई राह में जचा ही नहीं, मकाम फैज कोई राह में जचा ही नहीं, जो कुए यार से निकले तो सूहेदार चले, चले भी आओ के गुलशन का कारोबार चले, गुलों में रंग भरे, बादलों बहार चले. Thank you. Shukriya.
Wow. That was so beautiful, Sana. Dr. Elahi is my colleague at University of Wisconsin La Crosse, and I need to remind you that she's also a musician, and so maybe next time you all should come to her concert, because she regularly has concerts at UWL, which is just incredible. All right, so I guess it's me, and I'm the last person. So thank you so much for all of you who stuck around. And thank you, Jared and Lisa, and all of you who organized this. This is just so beyond words. When Jared reminded us that we are gonna lose 5,000 languages in a few years, it reminded me of the term linguicide, meaning killing of language, that this professor Amir Hassanpour at University of Toronto coined the term. And anyways, he passed away a few years back, but as soon as you mentioned that, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what he was talking about, linguicide, this death of languages. And thank you for preventing that by events like this. I'm actually nursing my 8.5 months old son right here, and I'm showing it to you, and he's been listening to these beautiful words from different languages. So thank you for that, for your generosity with sharing this, the past and the present with the future. And I think that's where the real change happens. I want to dedicate this poem to the memory of my grandmother, who was the high school teacher and taught Persian language and culture for 30 years. And for the time that she went to university, it was a big deal for a woman to go to university and get a bachelor's degree and then become an excellent teacher for 30 years. So I dedicate this poem to her memory, and all the women of Iran who are fighting for this feminist revolution that's unfolding right now, woman, life, freedom. And I dedicate this poem to her memory and them. Because that's inseparable. Her memory is part of the cause that these young generations are also fighting for. So without further ado, هنگام می و فصل گل و گشت چمن شد. در بار بهاری تهی از زاغ و زغن شد. از ابر کرم خطه ری رشک ختن شد. دلتنگ چو من مرغ قفس بهر وطن شد. چه گج رفتاری ای چرخ، چه بد کرداری ای چرخ. سر کین داری ای چرخ، نه دین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای چرخ. از خون جوانان وطن لاله دمیده، از ماتم سرو قدشان سرها خمیده. در سایه گل بلبل از این غصه خزیده، گل نیز چو من در غمشان جامه دریده. چه کج رفتاری ای چرخ، چه بد کرداری ای چرخ. سر کین داری ای چرخ، نه دین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای چرخ. خوابند وکیلان و خرابند وزیران، بردند به سرقت همه سیم و زر ایران. ما را نگذارند به یک خانه ویران، یا رب بستان داد فقیران ز امیران. چه کج رفتاری ای چرخ، چه بد کرداری ای چرخ. سر کین داری ای چرخ، نه دین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای چرخ. از اشک همه روی زمین زیر و زبر کن، مشتی گرت از خاک وطن هست به سر کن. غیرت کن و اندیشه ایام بتر کن، اندر جلو تیر عدو سینه سپر کن. چه کج رفتاری ای چرخ، چه بد کرداری ای چرخ. سر کین داری ای چرخ، نه دین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای چرخ. از دست عدو ناله من از سر درد است، اندیشه هر آن کس بکند از مرگ نمرد است. جانبازی عشاق نه چون بازی نرد است، مردی اگرت هست کنون وقت نبرد است. عارف ز ازل تکیه بر ایام نداده است، جز جام به کس دست چو خیام نداده است. دل جز به سر زلف دلارام نداده است، صد زندگی ننگ به یک نام نداده است. چه کج رفتاری ای چرخ، چه بد کرداری ای چرخ. نه دین داری نه آیین داری نه آیین داری ای چرخ. زن زندگی آزادی، ژن ژیان آزادی. Woman, life, freedom. Thank you.
Thank you to our writers from Driftless, our readers from Driftless Writing Center. We do have one final reader with the Chippewa Valley Writers Guild. I don't know if there is anyone from Chippewa Valley to talk about their organization. Know that BJ Hollers is the director of that, and he had a conflict. So Keishan, hey, please welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kai Shan Kong, and I'm a faculty in the Languages Department at UW Eau Claire. It's my honor to represent the Chippewa Valley Writers Guild. I don't know much about that. I wish I could tell you more, but I do want to take this opportunity to invite you all to, if you live nearby, invite you all to join Eau Claire, come to our campus on April 25th. It will be a Tuesday. April 25th evening from 6 to 8 p.m. We have our 17th International Poetry Reading Event. So it's the 17th year we do that. We invite our community members, students, staff to read a poem in any language other than English. It doesn't have to be your mother language. Of course, you're welcome to, but we just welcome you to, just like tonight, everyone will have a chance to immerse in the language diversity and celebrate language diversity. And so it will be April 25th, and I can send the email if you're interested. You can email me, I can give you more information. But tonight I want to read, I came from southern part of China. I want to read a poem in my mother language, which is Cantonese. Cantonese is a language spoken by people in southern part of China, and also people in Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, and many overseas Chinese people. This is a really, really short poem, only 4 lines, and it's about the 4 seasons, and it's a reminder of us, for us to appreciate the rhythm of nature and to appreciate the beauty of nature. It's written by a Zen, it was written by a Zen master over 1,000 years ago. So the name of the poem is Ode to Heart of Peace Mixed Tao, like the Taoism. 縱平常心是道，宋無門為開禪師。春有百花，秋有月，夏有涼風，冬有雪。若無閒事掛心頭，便是人間好時節。It's a really short poem, and I invite you all take some time from your busy schedule to appreciate the beauty of nature. Thank you again for this event.
Thank you, Keishan. That concludes our reading. I want to thank all of our readers and all of our collaborating organizations for just what has been a wonderful, wonderful evening. I don't know if you've all been able to see the messages in the chat, but there's just so much love and appreciation for all that you have shared with us this evening. So I thank you all so much. If you have my email address and you would like to get the recording from this evening, I'll be happy to share that with our readers and with our collaborators. Once again, just thank you all for joining us. Thank you especially to our readers. Have a wonderful evening, and I hope that you can take part in other events with us and our fellow organizations. Good night, everyone.
Night.